Attention gamers. Playing League of Legends and caring about winning unfortunately comes at the cost of relying on your teammates not being factory defective humans birthed out of an alcoholic vajayjay, and I'd argue that this tether to tilty teammates effect is amplified the most in the bot lane. Now I know answers to this ancient poll are probably reliant on what role you play, because the grass is always greener, but my ass is always a dreamer thinking that support diff won't determine how well I personally perform. For example, last week I got matched up against this pistol popping Obama who I could just tell was a shanty little shart summoner, but while my support was still learning how to plug a keyboard into her computer, theirs was tapping me from so many angles you'd think this was a porno shoot. And so while I felt like I was deep down the better ADC, their support felt like ours was a joke, and ours felt she was doing well getting 1 assist per death, which by the way was 12, not even 20 minutes into the game. A game that's designed to be so snowbally that ADC diff didn't matter and loser Lucian had the last laugh despite me feeling like I was better. But the story doesn't end there. You see, I got matched up against that same hard-carried elo inflated chum bucket Obama the next game, and considering there wasn't a support gap the size of the Grand Freaking Canyon, things went a bit different. Solution: if you are watching this, in the least toxic way, please lick a tit, you backpack dwelling chode liquor. But point is, a support diff can be frustrating, and it's even worse when that support is both toxic and afflicted with Thresh syndrome. Symptoms of which include watching so much mad life that you start throwing prediction hooks in places that the enemy would never be, neglecting souls like they are a ginger stepchild, leaving you super weak, which doesn't help your case when venturing way out of your little safety play pen when you absolutely shouldn't be, wasting your ult when you are about to die for no reason, and playing this skill shot based champion only to miss literally every single ability, rendering you as useless as a cannon minion. So today we are going to cover my strategy for coping with a toxic Thresh syndrome ridden pissant to see if I could overcome the support diff of a lifetime in a game of League. So please do me a solid and check if YouTube unsubbed you from my channel, because that's been a theme lately, and let's get into the game. Now I'd like to set the stage quickly, introduce the skill set of this Thresh before delving into some of his virginity exposing personality traits, starting with the fact that he loved filling our lane with tons of suspense. Like every time the enemy walking vine whipper came close it was go time. Or like when he would venture all the way into area 52 to get a single soul only to back up bait them in and hit them with the star-studded hook special. But it's also worth noting that in this last self-induced shitfest I popped a premature nut on my heel thinking I was about to deal with an ignite burst the bitch combo, rendering my heel as useless as an accordion player on a deer hunt. But that wasn't the case, and sure enough this walking abortion was the first to point out how I wasted a spell in an attempt to negate his stupidity. But I guess when your gameplay is as flawless as his, you can flame others all you want. Anyways, some young yelping toddler who's been riding a yeti through our forest is all like, wanna fuck up a flying wildebeest, and I'm like, if it gets me away from alone time with this bag of bones then count me in and good things start to happen. Until I flash straight into that anorexic gun slut's fudge nibblers. And take a wild guess who was the first and only person to rub in my failure. And while we are here I want to ask the League community, as someone who wants your teammates to perform better so you can win a game, what in the Geneva Convention bathroom blowjob do you think you will accomplish from pinging crap like this other than printing a custom name tag that says "Hi, I'm a big dick" to make up for the embarrassingly undersized one in my pants? But unlike the majority of solo queue players, my primary objective is to win the game, not pick petty arguments with strangers like I'm training to be the next Ben Shapiro, so I let him know I can laugh at myself and move on. And here is where things got a bit interesting, as he decided he would roam up to gank a champ with 2 dashes and a flash who isn't pushing up, and I made the mistake of thinking there wouldn't be a plant Nazi and Project Jar Jar Binks in the bush ready to rat-ta-ta-tap my asshole with some cheesy bullshit. To which Lantern Larry be all like, bro 5-0s come on, I pinged it. And while I don't want to defend my own actions here, as they were about as stupid as embedding a share to LinkedIn button on Pornhub videos, I contacted the best detective in the area to find and identify this mythical ping that Thresh so boldly claimed to communicate, and he unfortunately came up short. And I also want to note that at this point I deemed it time to pull out a play from my dealing with tilting toxic tit lickers on the Rift playbook. flame yourself worse than they are flaming you so they shut up, which is why for the remainder of this game you will see no one shit talking Rav worse than Rav himself, and honestly it worked like a charm. So side note, I totally recommend you try it sometime, but anyways, you now know this Thresh has less accuracy than an inflatable duck armed with a pellet gun, and he's also a toxic Tommy sexually frustrated that bae from his favorite anime would never go for a greasy middle-aged guy like himself, so I feel like we are caught up to speed and ready to see what happens when he starts inting as well. This just in. Rav has an IRL update for his viewers. Alright kids, the other day I was headed down to the mailbox, you know sexy Steve from Blue's Clues status, only to hear some ominous buzzing. So I threw a word in there and bam, turns out they were filming B-Movie 4 in my damn letter lounge, and considering I know these things can do damage, I called an expert who quoted me at like $250 to fix this, and considering my videos make so much money I was like, nah bro, I'll just build MR. But then I remembered these things make honey, so there was only one thing to do. Roll up the sleeves, get the Steve Irwin hat, and get honey, the #1 shopping tool in America that scours the web like a cyberspace Sherlock Holmes to fetch you all kinds of deals and savings. Coupons to conserve that cabbage is how I put it. For example, you can pimp out a sick gaming setup, let honey do its work, and then voila, over $100 off. Damn, I'm moist in the pants after that one. It works on tons of super popular websites across all types of products, and it's free to get, so unless you are chromatophobic, which is being afraid of money, there's no downside to getting it, but there is an upside to save money while supporting what I do by heading over to joinhoney.com/rav to get it today. Now back to your regularly scheduled programming. Welcome back. So things were still going shittier than the gastro ward at a salmonella-ridden infirmary, and sure enough, while our team's abominable snowman is getting banged by a gang, our Thresh is busy missing last hits. But he gets over in time to show how he throws like a girl, but it works out minus the hook that lands in the wrong zip code, and right when you think crisis is averted he's all like, bro, I have none of my cooldowns for like 20 seconds, what a better time to fight, and that welcomes David Blaine's side chick to come in all 50 shades of grey bondage, time to put him out. My fault though. Then we have less priority than a kid who dodges cues to avoid idiots like this Thresh Omega lol riot, suck an infected toe, and while I'm rocking more dodge than a Durango, Boner Boy is deeming this a good time to take a skinny dip up in river because I guess he needed space, and the only thing that could make this worse is if he wastes his flaming playpen of an ult for no reason at all before dying. I hold the L for that one too, so I get some alone time down south, and despite being miles and miles away, I still hear his hype song playing, which makes me want to check in on how he's doing. And you know what they say, the best time to engage in a team fight where your biggest asset is the steel lasso you twirl around is when that shit is on cooldown, because you just whiffed it hard. But it's important to note he did crush a flay to distract them from the snowball Zamboni that high speed crashed into a freaking wall before dying once again. Then the little hopping Halloween hoe on my team calls me up and is like, this sexy wizard is trying to mash me with her magical muff, so I head over to see it firsthand before sanitizing the situation and healing the cosplaying squirrel so that Cosmic Albino doesn't get more free gold, all while Thresh is questioning that play as if his performance wasn't something that could have been better. But speaking of macro, we get in position to play slap the flapping green sapphire, and the best thing about supports like Thresh in these situations is their crazy pick potential. But it's okay because at least we still got the drag. And when the word winnable no longer was adequate to describe that team fight, we all left, but he was like, nah, I'm gonna stay because this rapidly pubertizing gerbil promised he would introduce me to this fucking wall, and I heard if you want to make it in this industry you have to grow your network. Then Bobby Blue Noodlehead deems 40 seconds after a lost dragon fight the best time to put his ass on the line to clear vision around it. You know, gotta risk it to get the biscuit, except not a single person on our team was interested in said biscuit at that time. It was a shitty biscuit, and I don't approve of him being butt plugged by enough people to fill a golf foursome. And my homeboy Albert once said that the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over but expecting different results, and considering Skelly Shelley here went straight back to that same bush, I think we can all say he be one insane mofaka, but at least it prompted him to make a truly inspiring speech with a detailed plan to overcome the advantage he was single-handedly giving the other team. Okay, sorry for the suspense, I promise we will get to hear the drop again sometime, but let the record show that I went full Audrey Hepburn arsonist right after serving these bitches breakfast at Fiery Tiffany's, which turned the fight until comb-covered James P. Sullivan comes crash testing genetically modified snowballs into walls again, and needless to say the Boner Boy finds a way to die in the debacle before we clean up the stragglers. But hey, it looks like being bitch slapped worse than a boxing bag at Jake Paul's house gave the shitter some manners, as proceeding all caps flame and blame with the word please is definitely progress for Mr. Ass Caretaker. Now let's observe how the flawless flamer himself approaches a situation like checking if the enemy team is on Baron. As we can see, his strategy is to run in a straight line, seemingly collecting enemy skill shots like a hungry hippo begging to be homicided. But hey, I can't talk considering you'd think I was trying to wake up red buff with the ult that I came in all guns a-blazing with. That said, we still killed vegan gains in the war of topside chicken coup 2630. Then the giant gerbil tattooed two of us to a wall before going down himself, and full disclosure, this probably would have been an easy ace for the boys in blue if I didn't treat their jinx like she had COVID and actually touched her instead of the tank. So yeah, no one else got to line up nuts to butts in the dead bitch base after that because of me. Then the game took a turn towards something out of a Darman video on YouTube where Trist was like, bro, 150g from IE, thinking that justifies her coming in and Michael Vicking these dogs out from under me, only for me to hit her with the Darman special punchline, making her instantly regret it because she didn't think about how close others might be to their IE. #life lessons on this channel now, bitch. Anyways, I'm accompanying the failed abortion up north when bam, he grabs some magic vaj, which gives me the perfect opportunity to show what my ult does when it's aimed at absolutely nothing. I promise I am not seeing things, but it all works out because I slap the slut and get kicked to safety until this syndrome-ridden skeleton is like, anything you can do I can do better, as he shows how to not only whiff an ult but also a lantern, a hook, and you know what, for good measure a flay too, before showing that he can't dish it but he sure as shit can take it. I then chased the blind bimbo into the bushes, hoping to point him in the proper direction out of my forest and back to the fuck-upsville fountain, which turned out to be a bit of a nail biter if you ask me, and I think I speak for everyone when I say we don't need any more suspense than what this support is giving us, and needless to say the sup gap in this fight being bigger than the one between Camille's thighs while skydiving into the Grand Canyon results in us holding a fat L in that team fight. But it's okay, we just needed to reflect on what we can do better. Like this Tristana saying she shouldn't have built hypercarry, as if building Moonstone fucking Renewer was on the list of options for that champ. But in the next fight I take one look at my support and say, when life gives you a fat hormonal hamster who just failed to launch you into a wall, you turn around and whiff a hook and then wait for Yanni on her Yeti to come cyber trucking her big ass in so that you can add a combo to her wombo. And you might think my diagnosis of this Thresh having a tapeworm in his brain is a bit harsh, but I believe in the next play where we are setting up an epic game of peekaboo you a dead bitch and he doesn't quite grasp the concept by lining up in the fucking opposite bush, I think I need not say any more. And I guess Rift Alexa felt bad for how much I was flaming myself all game, as she tried to make me feel better by calling me legendary. And despite this incredible Thresh landing a total of 3 out of 679 hooks this game, as well as falling victim to many of the other symptoms of Thresh syndrome, we somehow carried his ON10 toxic ass, and for that I just want to say, there's a reason even Senna left your ass, you dumb bony bitch. Now slap my subscribe button pretty please, Rav out.
They ask how I rap like I am the baby. Your girl in my DMs and she going crazy. She asked to come over, I'm telling her maybe. I'm busy, I'm chasing the check. 150 I spent on my neck, but no really that's nothing compared to my jet.